That's great. Yeah. So welcome again. Today we are going to discuss about the principles of wireless transmission. So you can see that these slides, the main part or the major, almost more than a 50 to 60% part is from the uh, professor whose name is mentioned here. And then the rest of the things we try to amend and update according to our requirements. So for to give him the courtesy, we mentioned his name as well. Now, the point is that why we are discussing about the principles of the wireless transmission. This is the important question. Whenever we start our session, our semester, our subject, our module, our lecture, we have to be knowing that why this is and how this is linked with our subject. So the title for this is the principles of wireless transmission, and your module is the wireless network security. So the first word for your module is the wireless. Second is the network, and third is the security. We are concerned about the security. Which security? Network security. For what? For wireless networks. So wireless network, how it works, what medium it will use? It will only use the medium which is wireless, not the wire medium. So it means that wireless medium is important for the wireless network security. And you remember we discussed multiple times that this wireless network security is actually means having a lot of threats and problems because of the open medium, because the data packets, they are traveling in an open medium, and those data packets are accessible by anyone else. So at that time, we were actually referring to the wireless medium. Now, if this is the case, then wireless medium is our prime concern. And when we are discussing about the wireless medium, that this is the issues because of the wireless medium, blah, 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 blah. So then a very core and important for us to understand the principles of the wireless transmission. It means that we have to understand at least the basic principles that how communication is going to be occurred in the wireless medium. Because when we know the wireless medium principles, then we can be aware and understand more about the wireless transmission issues and challenges. So this is very much strongly related to our wireless network security issues. In other words, we can say that this is more than a 50% we are concerning about, because most of our issues, which are the issues of the security with the wireless, they are actually because of that. So now what happened? What is the next? The next is that is the reason that today we are here to know the wireless principle of wireless medium. Now, in today's lecture, we will understand what are the different principles of the wireless transmission and wireless medium, how data travels, what are the patterns, what are the principles, what are the frequencies, what are the communication systems, how sound travels, what are the frequencies, and all these things which are actually at the back end, which are actually making enable to our wireless networks in different means. Whatever we are using either the BlueNet, Bluetooth, we are using the Wi-Fi, we are using the Wi-Fi 6. So Wi-Fi 6 is something new. We will discuss about that as well. We are using the telecommunications, which is the radio frequency. We are either using the satellites. We are using any other gadget for using the infrared or NFC or any other frequency. They all are the frequencies. They are being used in the wireless medium. So the point is that we need to understand the basic principles of the wireless transmission. And these basic principles, why we are saying these are the basic principles, are the principles. What it means? The principles means the things which are fundamental. Why we are means here to discuss about the basic principles. Basic principles actually are the principles for the wireless transmission. It means those principles will be implemented for all of the different wireless frequencies, for all of the different any device which comes under the umbrella of the wireless. So that's the most important point. So these will be the common issues or benefits or challenges or opportunities for all of the wireless devices, whatever device we are using, whatever frequencies we are using, wherever we are using, but these principles will be means same in all of the aspect. Either they are challenges, either they are issues, either they are opportunities, either they are benefits, whatever they are. So that's why we call this as the principles of wireless transmission. Going ahead, which means provisions. So for that, we need to discuss first that actually what is the signal and system. Because when we talk about the principle of the wireless transmission, everything is considered to be a signal. And then we need to say that what is the system. So the signals are what? The signals are actually the variables. So what are these signals? The signals are the variables. You know what is the, because you are a computer science student, so for sure you know that what is the means variable. The variable is actually something which can carry the different values. Okay, so that can carry the different values that we can call the information. So we can say that the signals are a variable that can carry information. Now that information could be any, like suppose that information could be picture, motion, sound, video, audio, or any type of. So that's why we are saying that the signals are the variable. System is what? If we just define a system, if we just go to the predefined definitions even, we can say the system is an assemblage of entities and objects. The system is something which is actually a group of the different entities and objects. Real or abstract, this is something else, and also comprising a whole with the components, elements, and interacting or related to another one. So if we just go to this bookish language, then we got the confusion. But we know the system is what? The system, what he's trying to let us know, he's trying to say us that it is the means assembling, joining, combination of the different components, which can work with each other in some order, in some sequence, and then they can produce some output. This could be the very simple and easy definition for the system. So now we know what is the signal, and now we know what is actually the system. So signals are the variables. Now, for example, so what he's saying in the next, the system process input signals to produce output. So systems are always there to produce some output. And those systems always need an input to produce the output. And that input, what we are saying, that is actually the signals, means because in the wireless transmission. And signals are what? They are actually the variables. They could be the motion, the sound, the picture, the video, the audio, the traffic, or means it could be anything. Now, as you can see from the example that what we already explained there, natural system, which is called ecosystem. Human-made systems are also there. Machine is having a system, computer storage system, abstract system, traffic system, computer system, security system, so many different systems. So system can be implemented in anywhere. So this is just to give you the basic idea that what is the system and actually what are the signals. Why we are trying to understand this? Because to understand the principles of the wireless transmission. Now you can see from here, from this picture, so you can see that how this is information is going to be processed. So system process input signals to produce the output. So the one from left to right, it is producing some sort of audio, it carries and it processes in our mind, and then we reach to the output. So that's what we mean, that signals can be anything, they are variable, and then it comes to the system, in this system, and so the system can process the input, and then finally it can reaches to the output. So this is known as the signal and the systems. Now, signal examples, many, could be many. We cannot limit that what we just mentioned here. Could be so many, but just for a few, we just name them here so you can understand for your better understanding. Those what they are, electrical signals could be, okay, the video signals could be, audio signals could be, CT scan signals could be, biological signals could be, noise signals could be, different frequencies could be. They all are the signals. And I'm just repeating one more time that now you know the signals are what? The signals are actually the variables. The variables which can carry the different type of the values. What are the different type of the values? Audio is different from video. Video is different from picture. Picture is different from noise. Noise is different from the CT scan signals. So in this way, they are variable, they can carry the different type of the signals. So at the bottom, you can see that the one of the example, the graph is showing for the sum of the signals. You can see the ECG signals, CT scan signals, noise signals, sound signals, voice signals, and so many and so on. Different signals are there. Now the question is that how we represent those signals easily. We can represent those signals in a different way. So how we represent them? So we will also discuss these things in our today's lecture to understand the more in depth about the signals. Going ahead, so you can see from here that this is how we can measure the signal, or we can show the signal, or we can talk about the signals. So you can see from this figure that there are the two terminologies you are oftenly listening about the signals and about the frequencies. The one is the amplitude, the other one is the period. So you need to know what is actually the amplitude and what is actually the period. So from this, you can understand that the period is actually from one top rising of the signal wave to the next top rising of the signal wave. So this duration is known as a period. I hope you understand. So from the one top rising of the signal wave to the other top rising of the signal wave, the duration in between is known as a period. So most of the time, the people are discussing about the signals and the periods and these things and the amplitude. So these are the things, they are very simple. Now, what is the amplitude? The amplitude is actually the distance between from the top of the signal wave to the bottom of the signal wave. So the amplitude is actually vertical and the period is actually horizontal. Very simple, not a big deal, not a rocket science, not something very hard. Going ahead, now you can see the different definitions for the signals. Just trying to give you little in depth so you can just understand it, what we are discussing about signals. Say, for example, the basic definitions for the voltage. The voltage is what? We know, everyone knows that we are using in our offices, in our homes, and everywhere. Now, currently, we are also using the force which moves an electrical current against the resistance. you are not supposed to means memorize them, but these are the things we provide you so as you can get the basic idea and the understanding up from these things about the all background for the signals, amplitude, period, frequencies, and these all things are means the components are the parts of the wireless transmission. Waveform, the shape of the signal. So you can see from this, the previous slide, what we are referring here. So this is the shape of the signal. The shapes, the signal, they are moving in what direction? In the form of the waves. Okay, and then they have the analog and the digital signals. So we will discuss that as well. So in the form of their travel, how they are moving, that is actually known as the waveform. So the shape of the signals, previous slide, is a sine wave. So this mode we normally call sine wave. So now I hope that you also understand when you are reading in some of the books or online resources that this is the sine wave, so you can be able to understand that what they mean by the sine wave. So the things are very simple. Not to be worried, you need to understand the concept about that. That's the very simple thing. Now, what is the next? That is derived from the amplitude and frequency or fixed time. So now what he's talking about the amplitude, going back to the previous figure again. So now you know what is the amplitude. Now you know what's a period. Now what he means by it means referring this one that it is calculated for the fixed amount of time. So what's the fixed amount of time that you know that we count it in the period. So the things are very simple, not to be worried about that. Now, what is the amplitude? You already know the maximum value of a signal measured from its average state. So this is the amplitude. Frequency or the pitch, what it is, the number of the cycles produced in 1 second. Say, for example, if we just go there, so we can see that how many cycles from top to top from this period, how many times this is going to be produced in 1 second. If it produced in 100 times, then we say 100 frequency. So this is the number of occurrence. So how many times is occurring? That's what we means represent here as well. So the frequency pitch, the number of cycles produced in a second or in hertz, relate this to the speed of a processor. So now you know that we are saying that our processor speed is means 1.4 gigahertz or 1 point something and 1.4 something. So what it is means actually. So if we are saying 1.4 gigahertz, so it is actually 1.4 billion cycles per second. So now you can even realize the power of your laptops. So now you know that your laptop is Core i7, 7th generation, 5th generation, 8th generation. What is the power of the means your processor? So it means that is actually giving you the rate of the frequency. So even if it is only simple, we took a 1.4 gigahertz example. So it means that this is something that can process 1.4 billion cycles per second. This is something very big. So now you can understand that how these frequencies are working, how these machines are working, how these things are means going to be faster and so on. Okay, going ahead. Again, more about the signal basics. So you can see from here that the signals are normally in two ways. The one is known as CT, which is the continuous time. The other one is the DT. So the DT is actually discrete time. So the discrete time, it goes, you can see from the figure number 2, and the CT time, you can see it from the figure number 1. So CT signals take on a real or complex value as a function of an independent variable that ranges over the real number. So they can move in the means continuous pattern. But in a DT, so you can see that the DT signals take on real or complex values as a function of an independent variable that range over the integers and are denotes by the x of n. So the DT we can call in other words that they are the digital signals. And the CT, in other words, we can call that is the normally pattern for the analog signals. So the analog signals, they work in a waves in a continuous form. The digital signals, they work in the form of a DT, that it is explained here. So very simple, not to be worried about means having the different words and these things. So you can, now you can understand then what these things are. So from this example, you can see that this is the analog signals. So you can see from the mic to the speaker how the frequencies are moving in the animation, means based on the time. So this is the frequency. So now if somebody is telling you that this is having a different frequency or wireless frequency or something frequency, this is this much gigahertz. So you now must know that what we mean by the gigahertz. So I just go back for you so you can see from here that what we mean by the gigahertz. So now you know that wireless frequency, what you are using, this is the 2.5 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, or the 6 gigahertz. So this all about these things, we know that what they are. They are the mean cycles in billions per second. So now from here you can see that analog signals, human voice is the best example for the analog signal. You are able to listen to me. This is actually the human voice. And this is actually the best example for the analog signals. Now, our ears can recognize the sounds between the 20 kilohertz or less. The other frequencies are there in this world. There are so many different frequencies are there, but our ears are not able to listen to them. AM radio having a different frequencies, which is from 535 to 1605 kilohertz. And the FM radio has from 88 megahertz to 108 megahertz. What it means? It means like suppose you are having an experience about the FM radio in your car, in your mobile, at your home. So you notice that the FM radio is normally 88 point something and so on, and it goes up to the 108 and like that. So this is the means dedicated frequency band, which is we call it a band. So the frequency band that is actually assigned, that is actually booked for the FM radio services. So you will not be able to find any radio station which is FM, which having the 80 frequency. You cannot find which have the 70 frequency. You can find that having any radio which has the frequency of 115. No, this comes out of the standards. So this is how the frequencies principally, they are defined, fixed for the different devices and for different applications. Going back, you remember we said that these are the principles of the wireless technology. So this is the principle that from this frequency to this frequency is FM. So that frequency you will not use for any other device. From this frequency to this frequency, this is actually for AM. So that is dedicated for that one. This is a principle, this will be applied for everything. From this to this frequency is actually for Wi-Fi. So you will use that frequency. From this to this is for you, Bluetooth, you will use that one. For this frequency is for NFC, you will use that one. From this to this is only for the infrared, so you will use that frequency only for the infrared. From this to this is open frequency that can be used for the wireless walkie-talkie, handsets, and so many other things. So now you understand that what we mean by the principles. So these principles are set for the wireless communication. And in each group of this, we have different opportunities, different challenges, different issues, and different limitations as well. Those limitations and frequencies, they always apply for that related group of the devices what we are using. For example, if we say that we are using the FM, so we know that in FM, what things are creating the interference? There will be so many interferences. If suppose you notice that FM is not powerful, even if we are going close to the power station or going to the high voltage, then we are losing our transmissions. So there are so many things. We are not going at this stage for those things because they are not part of our module, but then we will be detracked. But these things are there. So these are the actually principles for the wireless transmission that what we were discussing and what we were having the aim and meaning. Going ahead, you can see here from the other pictures that is trying to show you the thermometer, the camera, and the temperature, and so many things. They all have the different type of frequencies. So they all have the different type of the signals. So they will fit either here, 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 or there, the types what we discussed just before this slide. So this is the one of the most concept means things which is related to the analog signals. Now, coming up, sorry, I said here about the analog signals. Yeah, these are the examples which are the analog signals. Now, coming to the digital signals are represented by the Watt square brackets. Analog signals, they represented by the waves. So you can see these are the waves. And those waves, we call them as a sine wave. And you know what's a sine wave, you know what's a wave, you know what's a period, you know what's a frequency, you know what is the means amplitude and these things. Now we are coming to the digital one to understand its ABC, that what is happening in the digital one. Most of the computer and the machines, they are using the digital one. So represented by the square wave. This is represented in a square wave, not in the means waveform. This is the one difference. All the data represented by the binary values. In digital, we represent the binary values. You remember that our machines are working on the binary values, zeros and ones. Single binary digit, you know that we are calling a bit. So bit is actually stand for what? A single binary digit. So we took from B from binary and from digit IT. So we name it as a bit. And you know, as a computer science student, that what is the bit actually. So this is the binary digit. From single binary digit, I'm repeating, from binary, you can see that B is bolded for you, for your better understanding. And from the digit IT is bold for you, for your better understanding. So bit is formed from this in this way. Transmission of the means group of the different groups of the bits are a complete stream which is continuously going to be happen, that you can see from this figure. And this is the 1 0 1 0 1 0. What it mean by the 1 0? When we are means moving in the horizontal fashion, then we call it a 0. When we are moving in a vertical pattern, then we say this is 1. In other words, we can say this is 0 and 1. In other words, in physics, you remember, we said that this is the on and off. So yes and no. But we are not going to the physics again, just come here and just understand things here is very simple. So not means the all decimal values can be represented by the binary. This is also the limitation we have to understand. So this is how digital signals are traveling. Zeros and 1. Zeros and 1. So 0 when we are moving horizontal with the axis, and 1 while we are moving in a vertical pattern. So the pattern is up or down is not a question, but while we are in vertical, that is the 1. 1 means on also, but you just keep it, it's a 1. Okay, no need to confuse yourself. Going ahead, now you can see then what is the difference between the analog and the digital signals. The one of the difference is that we know that the analog, they can travel in what mode, in what fashion, in wave, while digital don't. Digital means travel in the binary. Analog have the sine waves, digital don't. Okay, analog have some kind of the means blah, 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 blah. Okay, but what's the major difference? The major difference is that the analogs, they are normally best suited for the audio and video signals. For our means watching the TV, having the radio, talking on telephones, telecommunications, these all signals are best suited for the analog. And what about they consume a very less bandwidth? They are available worldwide and they are means less damaged by the noises. Like suppose we are talking, if suppose there are so many noises around there, then again we are able to receive the signals and again we are able to understand the signals as well. This is the most important point. There is interference, but less. What it means by the less compared to the digital one. So digital one, they are sensitive signals and they are best for the computer data and can be easily compressed as well. The analog can be compressed, but not easily. We compress the analog signals as well, but not easily. But the digital signals can be compressed easily and can be encrypted also easily. and the equipment is more common and less expensive, can provide very better clarity. So these are the major differences between the analog and the digital signals. Now, further, the analog message continues in amplitude. That's what we just discussed, and over the time. AM, FM, voice radio, traditional TV, analog video, and our first generation cell phone. I hope you are aware about that, huh? The cell phone, what we are using, this is 5G. We are calling 4G, 5G, and 3G and 2G. So the 2G, it was means GSM was started in 2G, and GSM is still for the global system for mobile. But our first generation of the mobile was the analog. That was not digital. So what it means, just for your better understanding, a clear and quick means understanding for you, in the analog handphones, we were not having any opportunity to send the SMS. SMS, you know that what it is. So this is the short messaging services, which is with the 60 characters, which is still with the 60 characters. So that was not available in the first G. So the first of our cellular phone was the analog. It was only you can talk to the others. So you can say that the first G was only the replacement from the wired to the wireless. The rest of the things were the same. So the digital messages, they are 0 and 1, the discrete values, that's what we just discussed, that the continuous values and discrete values, the CT and DT. So these are the VCDs, DVDs, 2G, 3G, cell phones, data on your disk, your grades, and so many things and so on. Also, you are already aware about this. Going ahead, AD and DA. AD is actually analog to digital, and DA means digital to analog. We are able to convert the analog signals to the digital and revert them back from digital to analog as well. It's not a big deal. How we are doing, like we are doing while we are using the internet also, while we are having the voice over call, voice over IP call also. Like what we are doing means representing now, this are the analog signals. So how it is coming to you, means reaching towards your state as analog signals, so you are able to listen me. But how they are traveling using the internet, they are converting back to the digital signals again. So the conversion is there from I'm talking to you, it's analog signals. When they are going transferring these data packets to the internet, before that they are converting to the digital. Then they apply the compression and so many encryption, whatever the techniques are. At this stage, we are not concerned about that. So then they are traveling, once they are reaching to you, so then they are again reconverting back into the analog form as well. So this is the from analog to digital, then digital to analog again. So this is a common fashion, not a something means big deal. So the gateways are there from the communication devices. We do this with the help of the modems. So I hope that you are aware about the modem. So modem is actually for the modulation. So they are converting from analog to digital and digital to analog. So the best examples, there are so many best examples for this one we are using, but we just talk about one of the examples that what we are doing right now. Going ahead. Now, when we understand what is analog, what is digital, what is frequency, what is the gigahertz, what is amplitude, what is period, what is frequency, what are the cycles, what is the signal, what is the system. Now we are trying to go one more step ahead. We're trying to understand what is the communication system. So when we understand the components, now we are trying to add the components all together, and then we talk about the system. You remember we said that the system is actually the assembling, joining of the different components, which can be able to process some data and give us the output. So the communication system designed to transmit and receive the information. So the same thing, designed to transmit and receive information. So they need to have input, they need to have output as well. That is the system. So they need to process something, to process the input data, process the input information, and produce the output. So this is the communication system. Information source, anything, and then means communication system, and then information sink. I'm the information source. Our internet and this, whatever the Microsoft team, you can understand for this one. This is a communication system, and then it is providing you the information and your ears where you are listening, and then that is the information sync. So this is called as the communication system. Very simple, just for your means rephrasing for you. So you can see from here, this is the block diagram for the communication system. So you can see information source. If we just go back, you can see from here, information source is the first and information sink is here. So in between, we put the arrow, which is a communication system. So, sorry, in the next slide, we are trying to show you the communication system, that what it is. So you can see from here, the first one is the information source, the message is coming, then there are the transmitter, then there is a channel, then there is a receiver, and then it goes to the, finally to the information sink. So in between, transmitter and receiver. Transmitter on my end, receiver at your end. The data which travels between you and me, that is called as a channel. And that is the same channel what we are discussing in our security concerns and the other courses as well, that communication security, while the data is passing from here to here. So this is the same thing from Alias to Bob that we are representing. And then we are applying the encryption techniques, symmetric, asymmetric, whatever we are discussing. Those all are applying in between here. So you remember I told you, these things are simple. They are, all informations are like in a blocks, and they are missing blocks. And if you clear your concept, then you can fit the blocks where it is. So now you just see how this block is going to be fit in this channel, how this is going to be fit in your other information, in other module as well. How what you have learned in your computer network security, how can it be fit there? So these things are the blocks. They all are means linked with each other. So in each of the module, you are trying to learn some of the aspects, and they are the missing block from the whole network system. I hope you understand. Going to the next slide. So this is actually just to give you an idea, not to be worried that you are supposed to memorize this one. No need to memorize this one. This is just to give you an idea that how many different type of frequencies we have. Maybe you know, if suppose someone asked you how many types of frequencies you have, then you will be saying, oh, okay, like 2 or 3. No, so many. Even we cannot place them here, but we just try to mention the few of them which are the popular and common in use. You can see from here, VLF, very low frequency, medium frequency, high frequency, very high frequency, ultra high frequency, super high frequency, extra high frequency, ultraviolet light. What are they? They just see now, go back to the top at the scale, VLF, where it is mentioned. I hope that you can see my mouse pointer. So you can see from here, VLF, LF, MF, blah, 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 blah. The same what we means provide the legends here. So this is actually what? This is actually a scale to give you a better idea. So you can see from here that this is from this to this. VLF is working up to this scale 300 hertz. This is 30, 300, blah, 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 blah. So just to give you an idea. And if you just go to the top, you can see from here that this range is for the twisted pair. What's the twisted pair? The twisted pair is actually the Ethernet cable, the network cable that what we are using in our machines, in our labs, at home. That's known as the twisted pair. Then we are saying this is the twisted pair, means Cat5 and Cat6 and Cat6S and blah, blah, blah. We're not going there at this stage. So this range comes like for this one. So now you know that what frequency we are using for with the twisted pairs. This is actually for the coaxial cable. So the coaxial cable is taking from this range to this range. I hope that you are aware about the coaxial cable. You know what's a coaxial cable? The coaxial cable is actually the cable what we are using with our dish antennas. What we are using with our dish antennas, with our TVs. We are connecting with the TV. Okay, that is the coaxial cables. Then the optical transmissions and the fiber transmissions and the other transmissions. So this is only just to give you a broad spectrum to understand for you what frequencies we are using, what they are, And there are so many other things. We are not supposed to go in detail because this course is wireless network security. This course is not the signal processing. But we added this information, as you must be knowing, because these are the principles. You are using twisted cable. You are using means the coaxial cables. You are using the optical transmissions as well. So you may know what frequencies they are, what are their ranges. You may know what is the frequency. You may know what's the amplitude, what is the period, what is the analog, what's the digital, how they convert, how they work, what's the system, what's the source, what's the sink. Because these all things are the part of the wireless transmission. And wireless transmission is actually the backbone of the wireless network security. So that's why we are trying to get the principal information about that. And that's why we are calling that this is the principal wireless transmission. We are not going in a wireless transmission, but only the fundamental transmission, which is actually help us to understand that how our wireless network is working. Why we are saying that our cell phone is using this frequency, then how and what type of the frequency they are using, at what skill they are working, and what could be the issues or problems, and so on. Going back, going ahead. Now it's taking you slowly towards the more from the communication system to the real scenario devices, so you can understand more. So here you notice that he's saying the frequencies for mobile communication. What are the frequencies? VHF, UHF, ranges for the mobile radio. We just had a experience in the previous slide. What they are? Simple, small antennas for cars. So it means whenever we are using VHF and UHF, we are using with the antennas. You know that our cell phones, they have antennas as well. They are built-in antenna. They are inside antenna. They are powerful antennas, different type of antennas. Probably that is not the part of this course, but if we find a time, I will let you know that you will be amazed at what are the antennas, where it is placed. Even your laptops, they have antennas. With the help of that antenna, your laptops are connected with Wi-Fi. Even your cell phones, they have antennas. Even your cell phone have multiple antennas. The one of the antenna is to connect using the radio frequency with the cell phone towers, base stations. The other antennas, they are there to connect with the Wi-Fi. Other antennas are there to connect with the Bluetooth. So your devices has the multiple antennas, and they are using the different frequencies. So now you notice that how closely we reach even to our cell phones, our laptops, and our everything. Our TVs, they have antennas. Everything, they have antenna. And what's the role of the antenna, by the way? Antenna is nothing. It's a simple to receive the signal and to transmit the signal. That is the whole part. So now there are the different propagation characteristics for the reliable connection. What are the propagations of the signal? Propagation, it means how signals can travel in what form. We will discuss in a couple of minutes, not to be worried. Then the second thing is SHF. Now you know what is the SHF. We just referred it in the previous slide. And higher directed radio link satellite communications. So you notice that this is SHF is what? Go back. If you forget, you just go back, come again. You see, SHF is actually super high frequency. So what it is for the working for the satellite communication. We have satellite phones. They have a very small antennas with a large bandwidth, the small bandwidth, with a medium bandwidth. This depends on application to application, device to device. Wireless LANs frequencies, UHF to SHF. They are using from UHF to SHF. Different. Some of the standards they are using different, some of the standards they are using different. You know, I recall the name again, Wi-Fi 6E. Wi-Fi 6E is ready. You know that Wi-Fi, now you are able to connect how much it means gigahertz speed. You can connect if you have the old device, which is not supported by the 4G. Then you will be able to connect with the 2.5. And if suppose you have a new devices, you will be able to connect with the 5. So if you just check with your home while you're sitting, you can find out, if suppose your modems are new, they will be providing you the two means connection types. But now 6E is there. That is more powerful than the 5E. And that is soon will be available on our devices as well. But not on our same modems what we are using at home, because we need the hardware upgradation as well. So soon, if we will get the new connections and we will have a new modems at home, that will be providing us the capability of 2.5, 5, and 6. But again, we will only be able to connect with the 6 with our new devices which are supported, having a hardware support for that. And you can understand the difference, what's the difference between the 2.5 and 5. So that will how the difference will be in 6. More powerful, more bandwidth, and it will have more coverage as well. I will try, if we would find a time, we'll try to give you the something details about the 6E. There's something very important. Okay, going on. Now you can see from here the frequencies and regulation. You remember we discussed that from this frequency to this frequency is for FM. From this frequency to this frequency, it is for AM. From this frequency, this is for the mid-cellular phone. So they are the standards. And we need to have the standards because then we can only be able to continue all of our operations. There are international bodies, they are trying to keep these standards up to date. So this is the one, ITU is the one of them, and the other bodies are here. So a few of them from Japan, from USA, from Europe. So for cellular phone, cordless phone, wireless phone, and other so many devices, these are the standards. You can see from this is what is the GSM, UMTS. UMTS is actually the 3G. UMTS is stands for Universal Mobile Telecommunication System. And that is the first G cell phone. Analog mobile phone system. It is stands for analog mobile phone system. TDMA, time division multiple access. CDMA, code division multiple access, and so on and so on. These all are the standards. They are already defined. So it means we know at what frequency they work, what support they give, what limitations they have, and so on and so on. The other details as well. Going ahead. Now he's just trying to give you the basic understanding about the antenna. So you know that the antennas we just discussed, that they are having a job that to receive the signals and to propagate or transmit the signals. So in antennas, we know that the antennas are having isotropic radiators type of the antennas, and the other the different types of the patterns of the antennas. The isotropic antennas are those antennas which can transmit the signals on 360 degrees. They can equally radiation in all the directions, all the east and west and north and south, 360 degrees. But if it is not an isotropic radiator type of antenna, then we call those antennas as the directional antennas. They can transmit the signals in 180 degrees. So these are the different types and shapes. We are not going in a very detail about the antennas, because antenna itself, if we can go, maybe we have one or two more chapters of the antenna. And you can find more than hundreds of the types of the antennas as well, and their shapes of the antennas as well. But for time being, we just understand the basic principles of working of the antennas, that the antennas, any type of antenna, any shape of antenna, which is designed for any application, like we discussed a couple of minutes before, your laptop has multiple antennas for Bluetooth, for Wi-Fi, for so many other things. So if the antenna is providing us a support in that it can transmit the signals and receive the signals at 360, then this comes under the isotropic. We also call multi-directional antenna. So this is the one of the most important type. And the second one is the directional, which is only at the 180 degree only. Now from here you can see a few more things about this antenna. that these are the means antennas which are traveling at the 180 degree and 360 degree. So this is the difference we need to understand. Simple dipole antennas, directional antennas, multidirectional antennas, tripole antennas, so many things, other things. They are actually, and in antennas we have the gain and the loss as well. What is the gain and what is the loss? This is something related to the signals. The gain is in case if suppose we are receiving the better quality of the signals, what we expect to, that is the gain, or what we produce it, that's the gain. And the loss, that what we are expecting and we are receiving less. This is more detail about the gain and loss, but we are not going in detail for that one because there is another part of here just to give you the introduction about that. That's why I'm just giving you the abstract level touch about these definitions. Now you can see from here the thing what we were discussing about, that this is the directed antennas. Directed antennas, they can work only at the 180 degree. 180 degree means the one direction from the whole circle, which is the 360. And the sectorized antennas, they can work in all of the direction. Sectorized antennas, isotropic antennas, multi-directional antennas, antennas which work at 360 degree, they all pointing to the same thing, to the one thing, so not to be confused. And the directional antennas are directed antennas, they all are the same, which are working with the 160. So the basic difference for their working principle is the one type of antenna is working at the 180, means covering a half a circle, and the other one is covering a full circle, which is known as sectorized antenna, which is known as the multidirectional antenna, which is known as the isotropic antenna as well. Going ahead. Now, here the definitions, that's what I was trying to tell you. So you can find that detail further in further detail, like direct antenna, they work at the 180 degree at the front, or they are also known as one directional antenna. They are different in shape compared to the sectorized antenna, and they are more powerful in sectorized antenna. Because in sectorized antenna, they are working in all the directions, so they are not powerful in a mean. They are powerful that they can spread the signals in a more area, but they are not powerful to spread the signal far away. Okay, because its strength is going to be reduced. While it is the directional antenna, it can go for far away. So this is the difference. So sectorized antenna work at 360 degree. They are also known as the multi-directional antenna. That's what I was trying to explain to you. They are round in shape for sure, because they need to work in all directions. And they are they cover the more area, but with the lesser radius compared to the direction. So these are the very important points among the differences for the directional antenna and the sectorized antenna. So when we say sectorized antenna, isotropic antenna, multidirectional antenna, please don't be confused. They all are pointing to the same thing. So I hope that you understand the difference among all of them. Going ahead, then you can see from the antenna diversity. So antenna can be grouped into the one or two groups. So this is just only for your understanding. We're just skipping. Then you can see the signal propagation. Now remember, we discussed that the signal propagation is highly important. Signal propagation, it means that how signals are working. The transmission of the signals, how it is taking the transmission, continuing the transmission. So the signal propagation is actually in 3 different modes. What are those modes? So you can see from here, these are the signal propagation. Just see towards the arrow. These are the signals which are coming from the satellites. Okay, so just have a look at how they are coming, how they are shadowing, how they are means these are the different types. We just mentioned the names so for your better understanding. How is the shadowing? How is the reflection? How is the refraction? And how the signals are scattering. So these are the different cases, different environment, different positions when the signals are coming from the satellite. When they collide, with this type of the material. So then, what is happening to the signals? But again, what is actually the propagation types? We are just going to be in slides to reach there. Multiple propagation. Normally, propagation means the way of traveling of the signals. So you can see from here, this figure is also giving you that this is having a multiple propagation. Signals coming from satellite, pattern that like we discussed in our previous slide. And the signals from the one base station to coming to the car, you are using your cell phone. So there are so many stuff and material in between there. So signals are coming, how many signals are coming to you, how many they are redirecting, how many they are going to the reflecting, how many they are going to the refraction, and how many signals are reaching directly to you. These all things actually decide that how much signal strength you are receiving. And this is how you notice on your cell phones that for some time you notice that you have the 4 bars on your cell for the signals, and sometimes you are sitting at the same place, but you notice that the bars are 3. So what happened? Where the 1 bar is gone. So you can see that how many different factors are there. So these factors are influencing this part. That's why the signals are going up and down. And remember, one challenge is there that we cannot control them. We cannot keep them. We cannot assure that we will means give the 4x4 signals to our customer at all the time. Not possible. So, and other effects on the signals quality is the effect of the mobility. If the person is sitting on the one place, so these all factors that what we are mentioning here, they are somehow constant. But if the person is moving, then new factors are coming. Maybe more interference, maybe more challenges, maybe less challenges. So signals will be up and down. So the mobility is the one of the core challenge. We can discuss 2 to 3 lectures and 2 to 3 chapters about the mobility effects. But that is the part of the mobile communication, mobile computing, not for this course. So we are just here, just for your idea, we're just touching to give you that you may not be means totally blind from this aspect as well. Okay, this aspect is the major concern about to maintain the quality of the signals. Gain and loss, that's what we discussed again. The loss is normally because of the erosion and so many other external factors and noises and the erosion on the connectivity and electricity and other issues. And the gain is actually why we are getting a gain is before I just give you the more detail about the gain and the loss, I may just give you the one more thing about the antenna. In the antennas, because then you will understand the gain and loss more clearly. And antennas, you remember we said that the antennas are 360 and 180 and so on. So in the antennas, we have the 2 major classifications. One is the active antenna and other one is the passive antennas. So what is this? The active antennas in the antennas which comes under this class, they all are the antennas which requires power to work, to perform. If we don't have a power, then those antennas will not work. For example, your cellular 4 antennas, your towers, base stations, we technically call it base station. So you notice that there are so many antennas and all of these antennas are connected with the cable, which is going to the bottom. And the bottom, we have always find one of the small room. That room is known as the BSC. Again, we are not going there because that is the mobile computing part, but that is actually fulfilling its power requirement. So those antennas which require the power, even your cell phone antenna, it requires the power. So those antennas which require the power comes under the active antenna. Those antennas which does not require the power, they come under the passive antenna. Like our old antennas for the our TV, which we UHF antenna, we call UHF antenna, we install at the top of the floor and then we connect it with the TV. They don't require the power. So those antennas which require the power, they are normally producing us a gain by any mean. Sometimes we are using boosters, sometimes we are using bridges, sometimes we are using if suppose we go, then we will go longer more, then we will be a bit away from this. But I'm just trying to give you the abstract level understanding so you just understand. So to the shortcut, simple, you can see that most of the, not all, be clear about that. Most of the active antennas means those antennas which require the powers to operate, they are able to produce the what gain. And the loss is most of those antennas, but not all, again, which are comes in the passive class, they are actually producing the loss. Going ahead, gain and loss, we actually measure in this way. So it is the linear pattern, and also it is the logarithmic pattern. What it mean? We measure the signal strength in decibel. Decibel is actually known as the dB. So the dB is what? This is the ratio between the two signal levels. I mean, it is the difference between the two signal levels, sending and receiving. What is the difference between that? You can, for your better understanding, you make it simple. Makes it much simpler to express and calculate the power gain or loss. So this is, we are using the decimals and the power gain and loss. But how? You see here, very tricky thing. We say this is actually defined in the radio frequency mathematics in tens and threes. So what is the 10 and 3? For example, see the first point is saying a gain of 3 dB plus 3 dB means that signal is 3 times means powerful. What it mean? It means that if suppose we send a 3 dB signal and we are saying that we are receiving a 3 dB gain, so it means that not a 3 plus 3 is 6, but 3 times of the original one. The 3 times of original one is the 3 was the original, so 3 multiplied by 3 is means 9, that we are receiving in 9. So now 3 times more we are receiving. That will be known as the 3 dB. So this is the same, which goes for the loss as well. So this is what we say, that we measure the signals in the radio frequencies with the 3s and 10s. So you can say a gain of 10 dB, it means the 10 times bigger. So this implement the same thing for the loss as well. So this is how we measure the signals loss and the gain. Now coming at the point about the radio frequency propagation, how they are traveling. That's what we were referring. We were discussing our lecture. What is this? What is this? What is this? So you can see that the propagation is actually in 3 types. Just allow me to go to the next slide so you can see. So this is the propagation. How? In 3 types. One is known as sky waves, which is in the center. So the signals, while they are coming from the satellite. So in that mode, signals are coming in a vertical towards the earth. And line of sight, you know the line of sight being a computer science student, when the signals are moving in a horizontal pattern, okay, from one point to another point. And the ground waves, because you know the shape and the curvature of our earth. So those signals which are traveling with the curvature of the earth, that is actually known as the ground waves. So they are actually the propagation types. That's how the signals they can propagate. We name them, we group them in these 3 different, means very important propagation types. Now, point-to-point and multi-point wireless link. It's very simple. We just go in a few seconds. Means point-to-point is from one point to another point, and point to multi-point we are traveling. So point-to-point is actually the same that what we are discussing here about the line of sight. So you can see the figures, you can understand. This is point to multi-point. One is a tower, and it is connected with the several points, like what we have, like what our TV broadcasting service. Broadcasting services are always working this model. So from one is a satellite, it is producing broadcast, and many are the input receiver, and the channels are working for that. Now point to point is what? The point to point, it means link to link, like this one. You can see this is the point. So this is A is connected with B only. A is not connected with anyone. So in this point to point, we call also the role of the line of sight comes also there. Now here is in point to point, there is one thing very important. That is called the Fresnel zone. The Fresnel zone is what? The Fresnel zone is actually when we provide the point to point connection. In that point to point connection, we always have to show that the eclipse in between what it is going to be formed, that has not be or must be more than a 60% should be clear without any obstacles. Otherwise, we may not recommend the connection. Like how? What I mean? See from here. So this is with the point to point. This is the Fresnel zone, and inside the Fresnel zone, now this you can see the eclipse. Then in this eclipse, we must be sure that this is more than the 60% is means fine, means free of the obstacle. What do we mean by the obstacle? Maybe does not have any tree, does not have any building, does not have any the mountain or any obstacle. If suppose more than less than 60% is open area, then we cannot recommend that point-to-point connection for that one. Now, the multiplexing, we're just leaving this now. We are not taking into consideration for multiplexing TDMA, FDMA. We will discuss it later. So just see that what multiplexing frequency, multiplexing time. This is the TDMA, this is the FDMA, and this is how they are working. But because this is more majorly close to the telecommunication, mobile computing, so we are just leaving these few slides. But we just added here for you in case if suppose you are interested to read about them. Otherwise, means not an issue. So these are the modulation slides. So these few slides you can just only for your information. Then the modulation and demodulation is the same that what we discussed from converting from the analog to digital and digital to the analog. So this is the same thing that what we discussed it, how it is happening. So you can see from here the digital data, then it is converted to the analog data, and again from analog it can be converted to the digital. So this is how we can do the digital analog and analog digital, and this is the digital modulation. So this is a few of the previous slides are just for your reading. Now here is an important concept. Why security and privacy matters? Security issues of the wireless network. Like suppose we discuss so many things now about the principles of wireless transmission. Even antennas, even frequencies, even types, even gain, even loss, even propagation. Why we discuss antenna? Because in wireless, we need to have antenna. That's why we need to understand their propagation, their working mechanism and everything, about the signals, about the systems and everything. So this all basic information we gain. But again, now when we reach here, we are asking from ourselves, why security and privacy matters? Why security issues of the virus? What are the security issues? So you can see how security issues of the wireless network can be addressed. So a special note for you, security and privacy are the major concerns. So now you can see these all aspects, they also carry the security issues as well, other than the user behavior, other than the hackers, attackers, and the other open issues and challenges. Now, security and privacy are the major concern for everyone at all the stages, managing and the protecting the personal data from the unauthorized users in our ways, and it's a high important for all. In wireless network, managing security is a bit challenging. Why a bit challenging? So many reasons, so many things. That's what we discuss right now. Compared to the wired network. Why we are saying compared to the wired network? Because when we talk about the wired network, so those challenges what we discussed today, they are not there. None of the challenge is there. So that's why the wired medium is compared to the wireless is more secure. And there are so many other factors as well. But these all things that what we discussed today, they are actually not there for the wire. This is the main difference actually. Okay, in wireless network, managing security is a bit challenging compared to the wired network due to the architecture and working mechanism. So that's what we discuss in our today's lecture. However, following are the few important tasks to improve the security of your wireless network and enhance the security. What are they? Make complicated router password. Okay, these are the things in our control, which we can control. Change router admin credentials. Most of the people, the survey results says that some survey says that 70%, 80%, not even 90%. The people, they don't change their default passwords. The default passwords are admin. So this is something very dangerous. Change the network names frequently and strengthen your Wi-Fi passwords, encryptions. So you know that in Wi-Fi we are using the different encryptions, WPA, WEP, WEP2, and so many different. So try to use that one. Turn off plug and play. So don't allow the plug and play. So anyone can come and join directly to you. Turn off the remote management. So most of the time we keep remote management that we can manage our home, manage our connections, manage our things, manage our devices from remote. Consider this is not secure for you because this is not only this is easy for you, but this is open for the easy access for the others as well. So not to do this and turn off the remote management. Yeah, we discussed today. The limit the WPS. Okay. also limit these things, and also you need to, keep the router firmware up to date. You must be, keeping your software, firmware, everything up to date. So this is the all instructions about you, about this is how we can create about today's lecture. So thank you very much. I hope you understand and you are able to digest the things as well. A little bit more. But because this was, we are supposed to cover within this uh, chapter about the virus transmission, but I believe this can help you to understand the concerns and the data, what we will discuss in our upcoming classes as well. This will help you to understand these as well. Okay, so thank you very much. Now, if you have a question, please, you are welcome. Meanwhile, I will go for your attendance. So you can I receive a message for the next class as well, which is very soon. Just going to stop the recording now. Meanwhile, you have a question, please. You are most welcome to ask any question. And meanwhile, I will just go to open access your attendance system. Thank you very much. So here we go. We stop recording now.